What's happening, guys? Just a quick note. At the end of this video, I will have a list of things to look for when buying a used car. So stick around to the end to have a look at that, or just skip forward, whatever. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we've got a bit of a different episode. In a nutshell, my brother-in-law's been looking for his first car. He's not that much of a JDM crazed fan as I am. Obviously, when I was his age, I was all about JDM cars and Initial D, Fast and Furious and all that jazz. Times have changed now, obviously. But one thing I found when helping him look for a car is that basically most of the cars that were very achievable or attainable back when I was his age are now ridiculously expensive. Things like your Integra VTIRs and things like that, which were, I guess, you'd pay $3,000 for one going a few years ago now. Amazing cars, but they are all now in the, I guess, $5,000 to $10,000 mark, and if they're not, they're absolutely thrashed. You can probably still get a GSI for a similar price, around the, I guess, 3 to 5, but you kind of want VTEC with the Integras, I feel. Same thing with Preludes as well. The 01 Prelude used to sell for about $3,000. Now they are ridiculously expensive, and I'm talking about good condition ones. You can still find the $3,000 Preludes, but they are absolutely, well, they're terrible. The paintwork's all gone, dents everywhere, and pretty much it doesn't look great. So I've started looking around a lot for him. Even something as simple as the Mitsubishi FTOs, automatics, used to be able to get them for $2,500. They are now fetching the 6-7 mark, depending on where you find them. And not to mention, people who are buying them are not letting them go for that much anymore, because they've got this notion in their head that all these JDM cars are worth more than, I guess, what they actually are. So it's a case of basically doing your research and finding out what's there. Even things like your Pulsar Triple S's are now very expensive. So we kind of had our work cut out for us. Yeah, Pulsars, especially with those SR20 engines, are basically fetching a high price. Now, I think people, because it's an SR20, when they think SR20, they think 200, SX, Silvia, 180, things like that, of that nature. So yes, it is based upon the same platform, but it's not the same car. So look, I guess that being the case, I've found a few cars that I think are probably worth having a look at. We're going to go and have a look at one today. I'm fairly confident that we're going to buy it, and I'm really excited about that. So even though it's not my car, it's the whole hunting and finding thing, and obviously trying to get a bargain, because if you don't ask the question, you're not going to be able to get like a discount or a price off. If someone's got a car listed for $5,000 and you go there and pay $5,000, well, then that's paying $5,000. You don't know unless you ask the question as to obviously what you can get it for. And if you don't ask, then you're not going to know. So we are going to go do this today. You can see I'm not in the Skyline today, I'm in the X-Trail, my wife's X-Trail, or our family X-Trail. We've got a bit of driving to do, so I want to make sure I'm comfortable. And this is a very comfortable car. So look, the weather today is terrible. It's raining, it's overcast. And to go search for a car, or to go look at a car in this kind of weather is bad. For a couple of reasons. One, you're never going to get a full overview of the bodywork, paint included, because obviously when the car's wet, it looks relatively normal. Second of all, it's going to be tough to find if there's any oil leaking or anything like that, because if the car's been moved from where it sits, the ground's already wet and things like that. So it's going to be tough to pick that up as well. But look, all we can do is work with what we've got, and yeah, we will come back shortly and I'll show you what we've managed to find.
Turn right onto Chapel Road, then the destination is on your left.
I don't even know if we're going to get it at all. So it could go either way.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, of course.
There she is.
The destination is on your left. 12 Chapel Road. Arrived.
It looks nice, man.
ランプがついた。スタート。カツラップ場が遅れている。ガンさんお家芸のロケットスタートでパルサー一気にトップ。さあスタートのリプレイを田辺 NX の車載で見てみよう。
Nissan's all-new NX2000 is a far cry from its predecessors. Indeed, straight lines are almost non-existent on the EconoSports NX. Its combination of teardrop headlights, vast hood, and flowing roofline give the car a very unique and even controversial look.
This is the car.
Now to the scoreboard for the verdict on the 1991 NX2000. With 140 horses under the hood, you can attain the 100k mark in just 7.5 seconds. What surprised me was that this can be accomplished in second gear. Pop third and watch out for the police because this engine loves the red line. The NX2000 features a four-wheel disc brake system with an anti-lock feature. Stops from 80 kilometers an hour were achieved in just 112 feet. The NX's suspension is taut and for everyday driving a little stiff, but push the car and it does an admirable job. Sway bars back and front assure a level ride. At 100 kilometers an hour, the NX produces 74 decibels of noise. Most of this can be attributed to the higher than usual RPM the engine turns at this speed. A little noisy, but nonetheless acceptable. During the test, we averaged 29 miles per gallon. Given the gusto, I found this figure quite reasonable. If fast and fun head your list of desirables in your next purchase, the new NX2000 is well worth a look. This car caps off a very busy couple of years for Nissan. One can only wonder how many more new models they can possibly have up their sleeve.
Car.
Except we already spent more than that.
Well, we spent 2,800 and I think that was 2,800 as well, which is how much Too Sexy and Twisted was, and that was a $3,000 challenge. But whatever.
Get part of it. All right, so we're taking this little NX for a test drive, and at the moment I'm just going through a few things to see how obviously she feels on the road. So the brakes feel okay. It's had a lot of work done to it, so, and the guy seems to know what he's talking about in terms of cars, but so do I. So it's one of these things where you're going to try and obviously get best bang for buck and what needs to be done in the car and what doesn't. The inside has seen probably better days. It is a 94 model though. The power steering feels a little, maybe there's some air in the system and whatnot, maybe it just needs to be bled, but apart from that it feels relatively okay. The car is an automatic. Brake feels very okay. Coming to a complete stop like that, the brake really feels a little too firm. I feel like there's some air in the system. Apart from performance, I guess if we put it back into, I guess, first gear, look, for a naturally aspirated SR20, it feels okay. the price that he wants for it, which is 5,000, I'm not okay with. I don't think the car's worth that, and I think given what may or may not need to happen with the car, will, I guess, determine what we end up paying for it. I want to try out the cruise control shortly, but yeah, I'm not 100% sold on it. I'm gonna have to do, the problem is that it's raining, so if I could get underneath the car and have a look at a bunch of stuff, that'd be great. I don't think I can at the moment though. So we're kind of just flying a little bit blind. So cruise control works all right. But yeah, just the brake pedal feels, once you get past that initial push, it just feels a little too firm for my liking. But yeah, so, I mean, that could be anything. We found some documentation in the glove box to state that it's had its CV joints changed, and obviously it's had some work done to it. It's had a lot of replacement parts, no doubt. Now, you're not going to get a perfect car, especially not one like this. But it's about, obviously, you're not driving this car to be a performance car. You're driving it for, I guess, its values as to what it is. For a second. So Adam fell in love with the car. Can't say I blame him. It's an amazing feeling when you first drive a car, I guess, that you fall in love with, and that you can see yourself driving for a long time. Not to say this is his last car, but basically we have to go into negotiations now. As I said, this guy wanted 5. I'm not interested in paying 5,000, so let's see how we go. So my brother-in-law Adam is now the proud owner of a 1993 Nissan NX coupe. Look, basically the guy wanted 5 grand for it. I didn't feel comfortable paying that. We had a bit of back and forth. I ended up buying it for what I thought I should be buying it for, which is 3,000. So overall, I think a very good deal. Look, it's one of these things, and I think a lot of people need to realise now that basically all the cars you thought you were going to be able to buy previously are off the market, or they're unattainable, especially with all the R34 guys. Look, the chance of you buying one now on your P's are slim to none unless you've got real deep pockets. But we'll have a bit of a look at the car now. As you can see, look, it's not a bad car. It's funky. And look, it doesn't get much more JDM than this. Now, a lot of people don't actually realise what these cars are, and I would say a fair majority of you guys probably would have only seen them when Mighty Car Mods did it. But I've known about this car for a long time. So look, you can see the bodywork. It needs a good polish. Apart from that, there's not very well. I actually didn't see any dents, to be honest with you. So there's a few scratches, but I can't see any dents. So the bodywork is fairly straight. Is it an ugly car? Look, I don't think so. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But at the same token, this is something that you guys have to factor in. You're not going to be able to get your dream JDM car straight off the bat. So if you want to have JDM stuff, then this is probably something you need to look at. Now, obviously, Adam's doing his first mods ever. This was a really proud moment for me, if I'm honest, because he's never worked on a car. He's never done anything to try and obviously make it a little bit better. But this is probably the first of many mods that are coming. So I was pretty chuffed with this. So we've got the Nismo oil cap on there now. But it's one of these things where obviously you do it as you go along. This is going to be a relatively inexpensive car to run and maintain. There's nothing really much to it. It's got safety features, I guess, ABS and disc brakes all around. The engine mounts I'm pointing to there have just been changed recently. So now for the second mod, which is, I guess, something that everyone does to begin with, is replacing the globes in your car. Now, I don't have LED globes as my parker lights in my car. I like the factory look more than anything, but I do remember back when I was probably Adam's age, one of the first things I did was put some LED globes in the parker lights just to make it look a bit more modern. And to be quite upfront and honest with you, it makes the car look really, really modern. It actually looks really nice with the pure white lights. So look, it's one of these things where obviously each their own, but what I'm trying to get across to you guys is that the cars that you thought you were going to be able to afford previously, you probably can't now. And again, I hope all of you can, but at the same token, we need to be realistic. So if you do want to enter into the JDM car ownership, then I guess it's one of these things where you obviously have to factor in that these cars are not cheap anymore, and that obviously you need to be, I guess, realistic about what you can afford. But yeah, you can see the Parker globes there. They look really nice. I don't actually have the proper lights on in the car at the moment, but overall it's a good car, and I think you'll really enjoy it in the future. I am going to be doing some more work on it with him, so this is probably going to be a regular feature on the channel, and I hope you'll all enjoy it too. So you can see I've just had the list popping up of what to look for when purchasing a used car. It's probably a bit pedantic, but look, I want to make sure you guys get the best car you can. But as I said, look guys, it's one of these things where we all want a certain car. I'm very much the same kind of person. Sometimes our bank balances and what we can afford won't let us, and that's just part of life. I guess my advice to you guys would be to start really looking around at what else is available out there. Start doing some research. Most people would turn around and say the NX is not JDM. I would argue and say, why does it have a Japanese car commercial then?
1000年の未来から今やってきた。
タイムマシーンかもしれない。
日産からクーペ。
Alright guys, that's it for me today. Sorry for the longer video, but look, we wish Adam all the best, and I look forward to working on this car. It's a pretty funny feeling when you get your first car, especially when it's something that you truly love. But as always, you guys take care, and all the best.